Hi, I'm Kelly, and this past Saturday I competed in my very first VGC tournament. Now, this just wasn't any VGC tournament. This was a VGC tournament with over 600 people. This is how it went. Before we go into the games, let's talk about the team. The team of 6 that I decided to bring included Hatterene, Hariyama, Indeedee Female, Meowscarada, Armor Rouge, and MAUSHOLD. There were 2 main modes. The first mode was Hatterene with Terastallized Steel typing and Hariyama to fake out in order to guarantee that I get up the Trick Room. The Steel Terra type is to make Hatterene not weak to Terra Steel or Terra Poison Hydreigon, but also make it rain from Gholdengo. Before this tournament, there was another tournament that happened that Gholdengo was on almost 50% of teams. The second mode is Meowscarada and Armor Rouge with Indeedee Female in the back. The idea here is that you Terastallize your Armor Rouge into a pure Psychic type while also clicking U-turn with your Meowscarada into your Armor Rouge. This does 2 things. This pops the weak armor ability, giving it a +2 in speed while giving it a -1 in defense, but also activating the weakness policy, giving it a +2 in attack and special attack. Then whenever Meowscarada switches out after clicking U-turn, you drop in Indeedee, get up the Psychic terrain, and then you're able to click Expanding Force with your Armor Rouge, doing massive amounts of damage. And then the final Pokemon is MAUSHOLD. MAUSHOLD is broken. There's a Pokepaste down in the description if you want to look at everything, as well as a rental code right here. Our round 1 opponent is Arcane. Their team consists of Amoonguss, Ceruledge with the Terastallized Grass type, Murkrow with the Terastallized Ghost type, Hydreigon, Hariyama, and Sylveon. In this tournament, we did know our opponent's Terra types, but nothing else. Even though we found out that in Season 1, we're going to find out that it's open team sheets, this is still just open Terra types. Unfortunately, I have no way of looking back and remembering exactly what Terra types they have, so I'm only remembering a few of them. I'm sorry. In Game 1, I'm expecting my opponent to go Murkrow, Hydreigon, Sylveon, and Ceruledge. With them also having a Hariyama on their team, I really need to prioritize Psychic terrain so that way I'm able to get up the Trick Room immediately and prevent fake out on their end onto my Hatterene. I bring Indeedee plus Hatterene with Armor Rouge and MAUSHOLD in the back. I lead Indeedee Hatterene, they lead Hydreigon Murkrow. I click Follow Me to avoid a Dark Pulse flinch on my Hatterene and Trick Room in order to be able to get up the Trick Room. As I click my Terastallized Steel, they actually click U-turn and Brave Bird, and that double hits my Indeedee, allowing me to get up the Trick Room. I click Helping Hand plus Psychic on the following turn on Ceruledge, as it is a massive threat with Bitter Blade to my Terra Steel Hatterene. Ceruledge drops and Murkrow clicks Brave Bird. Brave Bird is then able to knock out my Indeedee. I go into Armor Rouge as they bring in Hydreigon. I click Wide Guard in order to stop a potential Heat Wave from their Hydreigon, as Hatterene clicks Dazzling Gleam, killing the Murkrow. Then they reveal their final Pokemon, Hariyama. With Psychic terrain up and Hydreigon protecting, I have no fear in Fake Out. However, I am worried about Wide Guard, so I click Expanding Force and Psychic to guarantee knock out the Hariyama. And that is exactly what happens. Psychic knocks out the Hariyama after it clicks Wide Guard, Expanding Force doesn't affect the Hydreigon, and Armor Rouge drops to a Dark Pulse. With 1 turn of Trick Room left, I protect my MAUSHOLD so I outspeed Hydreigon the next turn. They Terra Poison with their Hydreigon as I Dazzling Gleam into Hydreigon. They Dark Pulse my protected MAUSHOLD, ensuring Game 1 is a win by clicking Population Bomb and Psychic on the final turn. Game 1 was a commanding win. In Game 2, I'm expecting my opponent to prepare heavily for Trick Room. This means them bringing Sylveon this time and next to Ceruledge. Since Trick Room worked so well, I'm expecting them to prep for that, and I want to go full offensive. I want to go as fast and strong as I possibly can. So I decide to lead off with Meowscarada plus Armor Rouge with MAUSHOLD and Indeedee in the back. They do in fact lead Sylveon and Ceruledge as I lead Armor Rouge and Meowscarada. They click Shadow Sneak onto my Ceruledge with my Terra Psychic Armor Rouge. This pops my weak armor and weakness policy. Now with weak armor active, my Armor Rouge is faster than my Meowscarada, meaning I don't have Psychic terrain up to boost my Expanding Force. It doesn't affect the Hydreigon. I click U-turn on my own Armor Rouge, knocking out my own Armor Rouge. This next battle is not going how I want it to. I bring in my MAUSHOLD next to my MAUSHOLD. I really want to make the play of clicking Population Bomb into Ceruledge, expecting the Terra Grass type. I also click Knockoff with MAUSHOLD on Ceruledge. Ceruledge protects itself against both attacks as Hydreigon clicks U-turn into MAUSHOLD, knocking it into Overgrow range. I switch my MAUSHOLD into Indeedee to block the Shadow Sneak from knocking out my MAUSHOLD. They quick attack with their newly brought in Sylveon, which is blocked by Psychic Terrain. MAUSHOLD's Population Bomb into the Sylveon, knocking it out. Ceruledge clicks Bitter Blade, knocking out my MAUSHOLD. I bring back in my MAUSHOLD. I click Follow Me with Indeedee as they protect their Ceruledge from knocking off Murkrow Brave Birds the Indeedee. They Terrasilize Grass Ceruledge as I play rough with Murkrow, knocking it out. They Bitter Blade MAUSHOLD, knocking it out and losing me game 2 since I can no longer hit the Hydreigon that they have in the back. In game 3, I'm expecting them to go with a similar plan as they did in game 2, so I'm adjusting slightly. I'm bringing MAUSHOLD lead plus Armarouge with MAUSHOLD and Hatterene in the back. They lead Ceruledge plus Hariyama versus my Armarouge and MAUSHOLD. The worst lead for me possible. I switch into MAUSHOLD and Protect, expecting them to fake out to hit my MAUSHOLD and Shadow Sneak to hit my Armarouge. They Terra Grass Ceruledge, Wide Guard to block Expanding Force, and Bitter Blade my MAUSHOLD. This is a very difficult turn 1 for me to come back from. They Wide Guard with Hariyama. I knock off Ceruledge's Life Orb as they Bitter Blade my MAUSHOLD, getting back up to full health, which unfortunately seals this game on turn 2. All my opponent has to do is systematically Bitter Blade and Dark Pulse my final 2 Pokemon, losing me the final game and the first set 1-2. In the first set, I realized I tried to make reads that I didn't need to make, which costed me after a very commanding round 1. I need to force my opponent to play my game, and that's exactly what I intend to do moving forward. Round 2 is against an opponent named Chauja. They have a Garchomp, which is Terra Ground, Hydreigon, which I'm assuming is either Terra Steel or Terra Poison, Goldengo, which is Terra Steel, Murkrow, which is Terra Ghost, Breloom, which is Terra Ghost, and MAUSHOLD, which is Terra Normal. This is honestly the type of team I feel most confident against. The only downside is the potential 3 ghost types they could have to stop my fake out. I go with Indeedee plus Hatterene lead for Trick Room and bring Hariyama plus MAUSHOLD in the back. They lead Garchomp plus Hydreigon versus my Indeedee plus Hatterene. They Terra Ground their Garchomp. I do not Terrasilize Steel my Hatterene here because I do not want to be weak to Earthquake. I use Follow Me in order to prevent Dark Pulse flinch on my Hatterene. They use Dark Pulse plus Earthquake, knocking out my Indeedee, but I do get the Trick Room up. I then bring in my Hariyama. I Terrasilize Steel with Hatterene. I Dazzling Gleam, knocking out the Hydreigon and doing 40% to Garchomp. I Drain Punch the Garchomp, putting it at 10%. They click Earthquake, knocking out my Hatterene. Next, we both bring in our MAUSHOLDs. They double protect as I Wide Guard and Population Bomb. With 2 turns of Trick Room left, they switch to Goldengo on their MAUSHOLD. I Drain Punch with Hariyama, knocking out their Garchomp. Their MAUSHOLD comes back in. They double protect in order to burn the final turn of Trick Room. I Wide Guard to protect against the Make It Rain. I win the MAUSHOLD speed tie, knocking out their MAUSHOLD. They click Shadow Ball on my Hariyama and unfortunately knock it out. Now Make It Rain always knocks out my MAUSHOLD. That means I need a flinch with Bite. I go for Bite and I go for one final Bite, sealing the game. Game 1 is ours. I'm expecting them to switch it up and bring Murkrow plus MAUSHOLD this game. I bring MAUSHOLD Armarouge lead with Hariyama and MAUSHOLD in the back. They actually lead with their MAUSHOLD and Goldengo versus my MAUSHOLD and Armarouge. They Terra Steel with Goldengo. They protect their MAUSHOLD as I click Knock Off, knocking off Goldengo's Life Orb and Armor Cannon the protected MAUSHOLD. Goldengo clicks Shadow Ball on my Armarouge, knocking it out. And I bring in my MAUSHOLD. I double target MAUSHOLD with Flower Trick and Population Bomb as they click Follow Me. MAUSHOLD is knocked out. Goldengo goes for Make It Rain, doing 50% to MAUSHOLD and 90% to MAUSHOLD. Garchomp is brought in next. Goldengo protects as MAUSHOLD uses Play Rough on Garchomp, doing 50%. MAUSHOLD Population Bombs Goldengo's Protect, and Garchomp Dragon Claws MAUSHOLD, knocking it out. Hariyama then comes in next. Hariyama fakes out Garchomp as MAUSHOLD Population Bombs Goldengo, knocking it out. Hydreigon comes in. MAUSHOLD uses Population Bomb on Hydreigon, knocking it out. Garchomp Dragon Claws MAUSHOLD, knocking out my MAUSHOLD, and then Hariyama clicks Drain Punch, knocking out Garchomp and securing us the 2-0 very commanding round 2. In this round, I calmed down and I focused on playing the team how I built it. Also, MAUSHOLD is just kind of insane. Round 3, I'm facing my most difficult matchup yet. They have a Hariyama, Amoonguss, Grimmsnarl, Farigiraf, Skeledirge, and King Gambit. They have the ability to stop fake out, trick room sweepers that beat my trick room sweepers, and screens. So game 1, I decide to go Hariyama plus Hatterene with Indeedee plus Armarouge in the back. They lead Farigiraf plus Grimmsnarl versus my Hariyama and my Hatterene. Grimmsnarl clicks Parting Shot on my Hatterene. This activates my Magic Bounce, switching out my Hatterene. This brings me back to when Chimpact used Parting Shot with Silvally against Gmax Hatterene in Sword and Shield. I bring in Indeedee, which is a huge misplay. I give the Farigiraf Psychic Terrain as it clicks Psychic, knocking out my Hariyama. Hatterene then comes back in. I try one more time to get up Trick Room now that Psychic Terrain stops Prankster Parting Shot. I follow me as they set up Light Screen and Hyper Voice. Trick Room finally goes up, but it's too little, too late. I spam Dazzling Gleam, eventually knocking out Grimmsnarl, giving them the switch into their biggest threat, King Gambit. On the final 2 turns of Trick Room, I protect Hatterene as King Gambit takes out Indeedee with Kotal Cleave. I bring in my Armor. With Hatterene weak, Psychic Terrain gone, and King Gambit on the other side, Hatterene dies to Torch Song, and Armarouge dies to Sucker Punch from Terra Dark King Gambit. I got absolutely destroyed. I felt so defeated, but I need to figure out a way to come back. In game 2, I'm expecting nothing. I just wanted to try redirection with a very offensive team, so I lead off with Indeedee plus Hariyama with MAUSHOLD and Meowscarada in the back. They lead King Gambit plus Grimmsnarl versus my Indeedee and Hariyama. They withdraw King Gambit immediately for Skeledirge as I follow me. Their Grimmsnarl goes for Reflect as I Drain Punch the Ghost-type Skeledirge, and I gained nothing from this turn. I predict the Skeledirge to Terra Fairy so they resist Knockoff, however they click Protect with their Skeledirge as Indeedee clicks Psychic, doing nothing. Grimmsnarl Spirit breaks my Hariyama doing 90% and Drain Punch does 30% back, restoring just a little bit of health. I switch Hariyama into MAUSHOLD and follow me with Indeedee. They get up their Light Screen and go for Torch Song, chipping my Indeedee. I follow me with Indeedee and Population Bomb Grimmsnarl, knocking it out. Torch Song keeps chipping at my Indeedee. My goal is now to force Skeledirge to Terra Fairy so my MAUSHOLD can break. For this, I need to get in my Meowscarada. They decide to bring in their King Gambit next. I Terra Normal my MAUSHOLD and Protect while clicking Psychic, doing 20% to Skeledirge. They double target MAUSHOLD, leaving my Indeedee around, which is exactly what I did not want to happen. This turn, I click Bite on Skeledirge, hoping for a flinch as I follow me. Torch Song takes out my Indeedee and Kotal Cleave takes my MAUSHOLD to 20%. I bring in Meowscarada to force the Terra Fairy. I protect MAUSHOLD as they Terra Fairy. King Gambit Sucker Punches and fails, as I U-turn into King Gambit, bringing in Hariyama, which goes down to Torch Song. I follow me expecting the Sucker Punch as a Flower Trick comes out, meaning they did not click Sucker Punch. Flower Trick fails to take out Skeledirge, pops their Iapapa Berry as they Torch Song and Iron Head, which is then followed up by a Sucker Punch and a Torch Song, losing us the set. This one hurt. One more set loss and we are out. I never got a good foothold in this game and I felt like all the wind was taken out of my sails. It's really time to focus up. Round 4 was versus Logan, who had Skeledirge, MAUSHOLD, Hydreigon, Palafin, Abomasnow, and Amoonguss. For game 1, I go the standard Harry Hat lead with MAUSHOLD plus Indeedee in the back. They lead Palafin and Hydreigon versus my Harry Hat combo. Hydreigon Terra Steals and I Terra Steal as well. I get the fake out off into the Palafin to stop the flip turn. They Flash Cannon my Hatterene with their Hydreigon as I get up the Trick Room. I Psychic the Palafin, taking it down to 10%. Drain Punch the Hydreigon, doing 65% and popping the Chople Berry. This is very critical information. They Flip Turn into Abomasnow and Flash Cannon my Hariyama, doing about 25%. Hydreigon protects the following turn as I Psychic the Abomasnow, doing 60%. Drain Punch fails to do anything as I tried to use it on their protected Hydreigon. They now get up the Aurora Veil. If you don't know what Aurora Veil is, it is essentially a Light Screen and a Reflect in one move, but you can only use it whenever the snow is active. I Psychic Abomasnow, taking it to 10% and Drain Punch the Hydreigon, knocking it out. They click Blizzard for 100% accuracy in the snow, but both of my Pokemon hang on. They bring out their Palafin, which is now in its hero form, having a monstrous 160 base attack. I switch into my Indeedee to block the Jet Punch priority with Psychic Terrain. They click Jet Punch and it fails. I click Dazzling Gleam, knocking out both of my opponent's Pokemon. Their final Pokemon is MAUSHOLD. With a little redirection plus Psychic, MAUSHOLD goes to 10%. Hatterene dies to Life Orb Recoil, and Indeedee dies to Population Bomb. By bringing out Hariyama and MAUSHOLD, my opponent can't knock out both of my Pokemon at once, so Population Bomb wins the game. For game 2, I figured if it worked once, try again. I bring the same 4 as game 1. Harry Hat with Indeedee MAUSHOLD in the back. They lead Hydreigon plus Skeledirge versus my Harry Hat combo. They Terra Steel their Hydreigon, and this time I don't Terra, so I'm not weak to Torch Song. I fake out Hydreigon in order to prevent the Flash Cannon, live the Torch Song from Skeledirge, and get up the Trick Room. I protect with Hatterene and knock off Skeledirge. This is to weaken it in range of Dazzling Gleam next turn without risking my Hatterene dying to Hydreigon. Skeledirge takes 90% from the knockoff. Shadow Ball does a chunk to my Hariyama, and Flash Cannon fails to do anything as it targeted my protected Hatterene. I Terra Steel with my Hatterene. Skeledirge clicks Protect as a Dazzling Gleam plus previous Fake Out plus Drain Punch is enough to take out the Hydreigon through a Choppleberry. They bring in their Abomasnow. I Dazzling Gleam plus Drain Punch to pick up the double KO, and their final Pokemon is MAUSHOLD. Psychic plus Drain Punch take out the mice, securing us the game in the most dominating round that we have been a part of yet. And we're still in this. We're now 2-2. So at this point, I think it's time for a little bit of a backstory. The night before the tournament, I worked 15 hours on an overnight shift. I came straight home from work and began streaming the tournament at 7:30 in the morning. I was exhausted. Also, in round 4, one game had 4 disconnects. That's right, 4. Now, typically that is a double loss or a draw or something, but not here. We waited almost an hour and a half for them to play on Showdown. Why did Showdown, a battle simulator, take longer? No clue. But needless to say, I was struggling. Tilt and the tired began to set in. Round 5 is versus Quatico, with a very interesting dancer themed team of Sylveon, Volcarona, Palafin, Murkrow, Oricorio, and Frostmoth. If you don't know what Dancer is, it is the signature ability of Oricorio. Any dancing move that is used on the field, Oricorio copies and also uses for itself. Game 1, I lead with Hariyama plus MAUSHOLD to pressure the Quiver Dancers, and Hatterene plus Indeedee in the back to sweep. They lead with Double Moth. They switch into Oricorio as I fake out Volcarona and Population Bomb fails to hit the Oricorio. Oricorio protects as I click Follow Me. Volcarona clicks Fiery Dance, doing 60% to MAUSHOLD and activating Oricorio's Dancer ability, making Oricorio also use Fiery Dance on MAUSHOLD. Luckily, MAUSHOLD lives on 10% health because it is no longer stab or as strong as Volcarona. Population Bomb comes out next, knocking out the Volcarona, and Air Slash does 70% to Hariyama as I knock off the Oricorio, which brings it down to its Focus Sash. Sylveon is the next thing to come out. Expecting to protect on Oricorio, I Wide Guard and Population Bomb Sylveon for some chip. However, they quick attack my MAUSHOLD and Revelation Dance, knocking out both of my Pokemon. Hatterene and Indeedee come out. I Terra Steel for better defensive typing, as they Air Slash and Hyper Voice, doing less than 50% to both of my Pokemon. Dazzling Gleam comes out, knocking out Oricorio, and Trick Room goes up from my Indeedee. Sylveon Terra fires, and their Frostmoth Wide Guards. Psychic does 50% to Sylveon, and this is where team building oversights occur. My Indeedee is bold with 31 speed IVs. If I was relaxed nature with 0 IVs, I could be slower than Sylveon, outspeeding in Trick Room to take out the Sylveon. Instead, they Terra Blast my Hatterene, taking it out, then fainting to Psychic after from my Indeedee. The remainder of this game turns into me not being able to beat Frostmoth as it Quiver Dance and beats me with Dazzling Gleam, losing game 1. Game 2, I decided to go offensive. Meowscarada plus Armarouge lead with Indeedee MAUSHOLD in the back. They lead Oricorio plus Volcarona. I click Terra Psychic and Self U-turn. This activates Weak Armor and Weakness Policy, and Expanding Force kills Volcarona when Indeedee comes in and brings Oricorio down to its Focus Sash. Oricorio Revelation Dances, knocking out Armarouge. Meowscarada and Sylveon both come back in. Oricorio clicks Protect as Meowscarada knocks off and fails. Indeedee clicks Psychic on Sylveon, doing 20% as it Hyper Voices, doing 90% to Meowscarada and 50% to Indeedee. Oricorio gets a double protect as Flower Trick does 75% to Sylveon and Psychic fails to hit the Oricorio. Hyper Voice does about 20% and takes out my Meowscarada. MAUSHOLD comes back in. MAUSHOLD bites Oricorio and Indeedee Psychics Sylveon, picking up the double knockout and forcing them to send in their final Pokemon, Frostmoth. Helping Hand plus Population Bomb takes out the Frostmoth, which sends us to a Game 3. In Game 3, it all comes down to this. If we win this round, we get to continue. If we lose, we are out of the tournament. This game, I'm really expecting Palafin lead with Sylveon, so I bring my Meowscarada plus Hariyama with MAUSHOLD and Indeedee in the back. They lead with their Palafin and Oricorio. I knew I'd live any hit from Oricorio with both of my Pokemon. I Terra Dark my Hariyama. They withdraw Palafin into Volcarona. Flower Trick does 10% to Volcarona as Oricorio uses Air Slash and does 90% to my Meowscarada. Knockoff then brings Oricorio down to its Focus Sash. Meowscarada clicks U-turn, knocking out Oricorio and allows me to send in Indeedee. Volcarona does 10% with Fiery Dance to Indeedee and then takes 80% from the knockoff from Hariyama. Sylveon then comes out. Hariyama wide guards to block the Hyper Voice as Fiery Dance does 40% to Hariyama. Indeedee takes out Volcarona with Psychic and Hyper Voice is blocked. Palafin finally comes out. Now this is a big play, so let's talk about it a little bit. Psychic Terrain has 2 turns remaining. Wide Guard stops Hyper Voice. Their Terra types are Fire and Water respectively. I need MAUSHOLD in Terrain to avoid Quick Attack and Jet Punch and to be able to take out Palafin. MAUSHOLD can take out Sylveon with Population Bomb. With this in mind, this is what I thought. If I Wide Guard with Hariyama, I prevent Hyper Voice. So if they want to take out both Pokemon this turn, then double protect next turn to stall out Terrain, then win with priority Quick Attack and Terra Water Jet Punch on the following turn. This means they have to take out Hariyama with Palafin Wave Crash and try to kill Indeedee with something. Since my MAUSHOLD can live any Sylveon hit, if I go into MAUSHOLD, I can reset Terrain later and protect from priority. Then take out Sylveon with Population Bomb, lose 1 to Palafin, then bring in Meowscarada and kill Palafin afterwards with Psychic Terrain still up. This thinking is very flawed for 3 reasons. 1. Palafin could likely be banded. Sylveon can't kill Indeedee with anything. And 3. Terra Blast before terastallizing is normal type, meaning it turns into fairy type because of Sylveon's ability Pixelate, making it super effective on my dark type Hariyama, which I kinda forgot. I switch my Indeedee into MAUSHOLD and click Wide Guard. Palafin Terra Waters and Wave Crashes my MAUSHOLD, which takes it out. Sylveon goes for Terra Blast, taking out my Hariyama, putting the nail in the coffin for this game. With the final turn of Psychic Terrain being up, I'm able to Flower Trick the Palafin, taking it out. Indeedee clicks Psychic on Sylveon, doing approximately 20%. Sylveon goes for Hyper Voice, taking out my Meowscarada and bringing my Indeedee below 50%. All Sylveon has to do is spam Hyper Voice for the remainder of the game, taking out my Indeedee and losing us the set. And with that, we are out of the tournament at a 2-3 record. For my first ever VGC tournament, I'm still proud of myself. I still won some rounds and I learned a lot from a lot of the teams that I played. But most importantly, I learned what I enjoyed playing in this tournament. I really enjoyed the Trick Room aspect of this team and I really enjoyed MAUSHOLD. So big takeaways are I'm going to continue to do VGC tournaments. I'm super excited for it, but I'm also really excited to get back into the lab and start team building. If you're excited to follow me along with this tournament, leave a like, subscribe if you guys haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much and have a great day.